Kia ora, good evening, and welcome to day number 2 of the semi-finals for LPL Pro Rainbow Six Siege. My name is Matt Smite Ross. Cthulhu will be joining me one more time before we hit the grand finals. Cthulhu, we're in day number 2 here, but we've already got one semi-finals done and dusted, and that one happened last night, and I think it surprised a lot of people with the results. A 2-0 from Ferox over Exto Gaming. What a result!
Yeah, I mean, that was a banger of a matchup nonetheless. I mean, even the 2-0 does not tell the full story of how close the matchup was and how close Exto were to the greatness, maybe. But alas, yeah, it was a 2-0. Ferox were pretty relentless on those both maps. Traded a few blows back and forth with Exto, but ultimately they were the better gamers.
Yeah, big respect for Exto to swing back. They almost brought it back on map number 2 in overtime, but unfortunately, Ferox were just too strong for them. And well, Ferox get to move into the grand finals next week, but tonight we get to decide who they will be facing. It's going to be either Skyfire or Bizarre. And man, if you thought last night's match was going to be close, well, this one should be just as good. These guys have been going at each other for at least 2 seasons now, so this one should be very, very close, Cthulhu.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that this is going to be one of the closer ones, although the previous matchup was not as potent, given that they did play with a sub. This time it's a 5-core lineup for Bizarre, which we will talk about it in a little bit, but yeah, honestly, this is looking like it might be one of the rather closer matchups. We did say the similar thing yesterday, but this one is definitely going to be just about evenly matched, I reckon.
Yeah, and it's such a treat because our top 4 has been so close throughout the season. But let's take a look at the players that are going to be hitting the fields today. First up, of course, we've got to take a look at Skyfire. These guys have been playing out of their minds, especially as the season came to a close through the round robin. Archie, Smacker, Jigsaw, Kubrian, and Sequence. These lads have just been on fire.
Yeah, they were able to really perform really well on a solo skill level. They, as a squad, they're a scary force to be reckoned with, and really each and one of them can perform some really highlight-worthy stuff.
Absolutely. So they're going to have to pull it out tonight, though, because Bizarre have been a force to be reckoned with. They're out for revenge tonight. It's Gulmau, AFX, Twent, BB, and El Presidente as they want to come in here and snag that grand final spot away from Skyfire, who, by the way, are that first-place seed. So you reckon Bizarre are going to be able to do it here now that they've got the full 5-man squad?
I reckon they will definitely they're gonna make the matchup a whole lot closer. This is something that they have been slowly getting to, but unfortunately for them, they only managed to make it to the 4th seed. So yeah, it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for them, whereas Skyfire are the ones to kind of, it is their game potentially to be lost, but it's still going to be a very close one, I reckon.
Well, of course, we've got to see what maps we're going to be playing on. And we got a bit of a sneak peek, so we know these are going to be some very spicy maps. First up, it's going to be Villa, which I think you've got a lot to say on, but that was picked by Skyfire. Yeah. Then we're hitting up Cafe, picked by Bizarre, of course, and then the Coin Gods have given us Oregon for map number 3, if we do make it there throughout this best of 3 series. So first up, Cthulhu, why is Villa such a surprise here?
Well, Villa is one of those kind of recently reoccurring map picks from Skyfire. They were picking it more and more frequently as the round robin stage was closing out, and well, they were performing quite well on it. I mean, last time they played it against Bizarre, they were able to snag a 7-0, but like I mentioned before, it was a a match where Bazaar had a sub, so there was some questionable choices with the chemistry maybe from the teammates, but this time it's a 5-core stack. The main interesting part for me here is the Cafe pick, because throughout the whole season, the whole round robin part, Bazaar did not play a single Cafe game. So no VOD material there for Skyfire to even take a look.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what they've been doing behind the scenes to pull out something special here on Cafe, because like you said, no VOD material leaves plenty of room for surprises. So hopefully this has been in their plan. It's been in the books. They've been scrimming it out, getting ready for the semi-final tonight, because well, like we said, this top four has just been so close. You can't really afford to keep secrets for the grand final. You're very likely going to have to fight your heart out here, whether you're Skyfire or Bazaar. No one's got a guaranteed win here tonight. And so I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but I'm keen to see what's coming out from Cafe, because, like you said, we have not seen it from Bazaar just yet. So they could come out with some really crazy stuff.
Yeah, and the another thing that could potentially give Bazaar another advantage is the fact that Cafe was one of the rather less well-performed maps by Skyfire as well, because they're one of their rather more recent plays on it was against Ferox. Albeit that Ferox is one of the rather stronger teams in the whole season, they only allowed Skyfire to take 3 rounds on Cafe. Only 3 rounds, and after that, no remorse whatsoever, full shutdown. So here, I reckon the way how it's going to go is with Villa, it is definitely looking like we might be seeing a Skyfire win. It's one of those maps that they've been kind of very consistently winning and practicing really well. Cafe, that's a Bazaar pick. I would probably call about maybe 70% me being sure about that. 30% is probably going to come in with the Caster's Curse and just swing it in favor of Skyfire. Who knows? And then Oregon is going to be an overtime game, should we get to it, because
you reckon?
both teams had some pretty decent performances. Skyfire had slightly more overall rounds won on Oregon against slightly harder teams, but Bazaar are not as far away from that kind of good showcase. So I genuinely think that if we are going to get to overtime, I'm going to call it overtime.
Yeah, well, not to mention as well, if we do make it to Oregon, that means we're going to Game 3. Obviously, we've got a close one in our hands. The teams will be going back and forth to make it there. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a fun call, but we could very much go to overtime there. But, of course, then you go into things like, will the teams have the fatigue to get through it? Could it been a huge momentum swing? I think we won't really be able to tell until we've got those 2 maps under our belt. But, of course, we are just getting the players ready for the lobby. So hang tight, guys. We're just about getting into it, but we're going to be hitting Villa first. So let's focus on this one, Cthulhu, because like we've been saying, yeah, it wasn't the full Bazaar lineup last time we were here, but that was still a 7-0 against them by Skyfire.
Yeah, the Skyfire were able to just completely demolish and run away and steal away all of those rounds, really. So, yeah, definitely should be a very interesting matchup to say at the very least, given that, yeah, Villa is definitely a favorite for Skyfire.
So let's jump right into map number 1 here as we hit the ban phase. And just while we're getting into this one, Cthulhu, you know all about loading into the maps, but can you do it quickly with your WD Black SSD? Well, I can tell you the answer is yes. And you can do it with plenty of space too, because you know what? Last week, I got fed up when I got a 10 gigabyte update for some other game I played. And I was like, that's it. I need a bit more space. So went out and got one, and I've never looked back. So make sure you sort that out, because they've been supporting this Rainbow Six Siege LPL Pro as well, guys. So let's get into it. Hibana and Maverick off the table. So looks like it might be a bit of a Thermite party here, Cthulhu.
Yeah, Thermite will be the only breacher that will be present here, given that Ace is still in the quarantine, which should make things a bit more interesting, given that now the attack will have certainly a very limited amount of breach to be done. And, well, both Hibana and Maverick are out, but at the very least, Thatcher is still alive in this whole just banning fiesta, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's not quite a fiesta now that we've hit the defensive bans. Those ones come up all the time. Valk and Mirror, both very strong operators, so get them in the bin, get them out of here. No one wants to deal with them. Let's get into round number 1. Like we were saying, Thermite gonna have to get up nice, close and personal and give the wall a little bit of a kiss before he breaches through it, which means we could be getting some pretty crazy gunfights. We could be getting some pretty hard swings at some point. So both teams have seen what the other semifinals have looked like. There was a lot of aggression coming out, especially from Ferox, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of that here, especially coming out from the defense, because we've got Skyfire coming up on that one first.
Yeah, Skyfire should be able to kick things off here very nicely with their overall, with the fact that they are defending here. Curious that Bizarre were the ones to pick the attacking side to kick things off, but maybe there's a grand plan there somewhere hidden. But for now, I mean, previously, yeah, like we mentioned before, Skyfire were able to just completely shut it down whenever they went on the defense for Villa. So here I would be expecting, yeah, the Archie and Mateus, or Archie and Sequence, to be on that big roam, Jigsaw probably on the solo roam, and the remainder is just to kind of anchor on site.
Okay, so it's going to have to be a pretty strong opening, particularly from Bizarre, if they want to come into this one, because like you said, they picked that attack first, so it does make me think they've got something up their sleeves for this one, but if the attacking half does go badly, then suddenly you're getting all worried about a kind of a repeat of the last time you met each other here on this map with a 7-0. A lot of teams can feel quite comfortable on the defensive side here. The pressure is not so much on you, you're waiting for the team to push onto you, so I want to see a strong opening from Bizarre. Doesn't have to necessarily be a really quick round, an aggressive round or anything like that. It just has to be clean, I think, to get the momentum going for them here because, yeah, like we've been saying, Villa hurt last time and they don't want to feel those wounds open up again.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Interestingly enough, Bizarre actually prompted to go for an IQ pick rather than a Thatcher, so yeah, we'll be a little bit more potentially flexible with some of that utility clearance and maybe a little bit more gunfight potential, given that the G8 is a little bit more powerful than the L86. But apart from that, it seems that Bizarre just setting up so far for the push, getting rid of some of the ADSs, maybe a few of the Bomai charges, maybe a few goo mines. So far, the breach is actually starting to come through, and no denial is actually going to be there. So easy breach, easy opening, and another avenue has been now opened up. And for Mateus, things might get lit up pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's got a few magnets to keep him safe for a little while, but he may very well be quickly flushed out from there. But already, we've got the first kill now on the board. First blood goes over to Twent as Sequence falls. Now we're down to Doc here, so that's a lot of firepower to not have the final push here, Cthulhu.
And it was absolutely scot-free. Yeah, finally Mateus will be actually outed from his position, which was quite dangerous from the get-go, but now in a 3v5 position with no damage being dealt back to Bizarre. Skyfire looking a little bit shaky here and could potentially lose out on this round, but no, it's not over yet.
Yeah, Jigsaw definitely knows what's coming around the corner. He's getting droned out kind of hard here. They definitely know that he's around, and now here come the flashbangs. Is it going to connect? So far, he stays very visible, but he is just keeping his eyes on all the openings. He knows he's got to make the clutch plays here. His team down 2 members, but 40 seconds to go. This is plenty of time for Bizarre to now make the push, and we're about to get it in right now. Ghoul going to start making the swing, but Jigsaw hits back onto AFX, and Ghoul will fall as well. Jigsaw absolutely a machine on the push, and Archie as well. It continues. He gets back up, loses some health, and the swing does come back here, but the plant is now down. Twent trying to get on out of there to make sure he can protect this diffuser. It has to be tight, and it has to be clean.
Yeah, the thing is that the diffuser is actually, it does not have the breached floor right on it, so Smacker is going to go straight away for that diffuse in an attempt, as right now, actually can't see it. I think he might just be able to see it. No, oh, actually, yeah, there is a down on Smacker. 14 seconds remaining. Jigsaw is the one to actually get the revives back up and running, and Smacker is going to try to get the diffuse going as well. There's the kill as well. 3 seconds left to go.
He's going to go.
IQ needs to book it. She needs to find that shot, and she does not find it. It's Skyfire to actually disable the diffuser just 1 second away from the demise.
Such a risky play at the end there, going for the push as well. And oh man, he knew how close that one was as well. So Skyfire, by the skin of their teeth, I might add, somehow managed to swing that one back. Remember, we were a minute to go and they were 2 members down. Yet they still swung back really hard and managed to clutch it out at the end there. So it might have been close by Twen to come back into that one, but he went for the push and it didn't pay off.
And not at all. He almost had it, but maybe just the timing or maybe the positioning wasn't there. Maybe the attempt to try to play from the very same position from below could have been much more viable, but alas, maybe the pressure kicked in there. But it's only the first round, so still plenty of rounds to play it out, still plenty of points to be taken back here by Bazaar, so maybe it's just the first round jitters could be coming through. But for now, it's going to be dining to be played out on the on the second round rather. And Skyfire going for even more of an aggressive lineup. You see Alibi, you see Pulse, you see Jaeger going in for those potentially roaming roles, and then kind of Mute and Castle to just add a little bit of spice to a few anchor plays here.
Yeah, and Bazaar are going to have a little bit of tools to clear it, but we're not seeing anything like a sledge or a buck, so those castle barricades are actually going to drain some pretty important utility if they choose to go through it. They do have the IQ to clear things out, like the mute jammers, which are going to be pretty useful to get rid of. Of course, ADS always useful to get rid of, but of course, you mentioned that aggression, but they're also going to be running through a few tighter corridors with a bit of less utility. They're going to have to worry about some of these crazy roaming players. Mateus could go for it, but it looks like he's gonna fall back and just anchor instead. And so with that, it's like it's likely gonna be all up to Jigsaw to make these roaming plays happen.
I mean, Jigsaw already was able to prove us that he's absolutely amazing on both the anchor plays and their own plays, especially that previous round. Being able to return back on site, get that triple kill, it was just absolutely amazing, and was able to shut down any momentum that Bazaar had there. But it's round 2 though, so Jigsaw hasn't yet found a single victim there, but Ghoul and Twen being kind of disconnected a little bit on their push might introduce a little bit of an issue, but so far having BB on the live drone should make things a little bit easier there.
Yeah, these guys are actually making a ton of progress throughout all the rooms right now. Just a minute in, they're already up to the main walls they're going to have to breach through, and it looks like it's already starting to happen through the castle barricades. And so now they've got some pretty sweet lines of sight. Now, that live droning certainly paying off very well, but here comes the hard part, because now you've got to worry about all those potential roaming plays, like we were mentioning. Jigsaw, super successful last time. You've got Mateus, and he is hanging out down below. He may be able to find a very saucy C4 play. Look at all these juicy targets. I smell a double kill. Well, so far we'll start with a single kill, but is this one going to be a double? It might just be one, but hey, look, Cthulhu, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, both Twent and Ghoul now being completely out already means that Bazaar's momentum here is going to be completely curbed, even without Bazaar even finding a single frag. They took a whole bunch of damage, a whole lot of casualties, and well, right now, Skyfire definitely going to be sitting quite pretty here.
Pretty painful operators to lose as well. Now as well, you're losing the Thermite. President falls, and this one is just crumbling apart. We may be staring down a flawless round for Skyfire.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly looks like it, as not a single damage once again has been dealt after 3 of those frags. Smacker magically just unable to take any damage really, and well, that's already a solid beginning for him, since now AFX is the one that has to pick up the diffuser, and oh, finally maybe some damage could be done here, but right now AFX is just getting spotted by those prismas, and this is a fantastic setup that Smacker has.
Just no way to get around this one. Do they go for any kind of aggressive push? They might have to. BB may find something through the floor here. Smacker does fall, and maybe Bazaar can make a push here. The flash has now come out, and so they make their final attempt here, but 10 seconds to go. 1.5 health bars. Well, now only against 3 people. Maybe they can make it work, but as they walk into the line of sight of sequence, it's AFX to fall, and BB knows he's got no time and no hope. Even if he may get a few exit frags, that's still round number 2 into the pocket of Skyfire.
It was a solid attempt at a comeback, but maybe a little bit too late from Bazaar, allowing Skyfire to get a second round. I mean, Skyfire were already notorious for having some nasty C4 game from below on Villa. So it comes to no surprise that they were able to just completely demolish Bizarre even before they were able to get anywhere close to the site.
Also want to shout out Mateus as well on the pulse play. He had a potential double kill that he could have gone for, but he played it patient. He didn't get greedy. He went for the guaranteed single kill. Of course, he already had Sequence picking up his own C4 kill, so he knew that another one's certainly going to be good enough. So I like it. I love the patient play, not getting greedy, not going for the highlights, and just getting those round wins, and it's working out for them. So once more, we're going for quite a few aggressive operators. Now Smacker on that Vigil. Smacker, this one can be a bit binary for him. Sometimes it works really well, but other times it can be stopped in its tracks pretty hard. So it looks like Skyfire are either going to be looking at close to another flawless round, or, well, it could be Bizarre's first round to pick up. But of course, I mean, looking at how Skyfire had been going, that last round was just insane.
Yeah, absolutely just nuts, really. Yeah, gotta give it to Skyfire. Whenever they know how to take over the momentum, they are just absolutely unstoppable. And genuinely, I'll be quite curious to see if they are gonna make it to the grand final. I'd be curious how they would play it against Ferox, because I don't think we haven't actually. I don't think we have seen a serious Skyfire versus a very serious Ferox. So it should be a very saucy matchup one way or another.
Yeah, but you may have to hold your horses here, Lou, because we're only two rounds in, and Skyfire might be making it look a little easy, at least especially in round 2. But we'll have to hold our breath here, because Bizarre, remember, they picked up attack first, so maybe they've got something coming out here, but so far it just seems to be slowing down just a little bit. But now we give them another shot, round number 3. Remember, last round fell apart pretty quickly thanks to the C4s. Of course, now we don't have Pulse, and there's only one C4 on the defensive side this time, so the binary plays like that just completely stop an attack might not happen this time. So let's see if Bizarre, with that small advantage they've got there, may be able to pull it off. They get to go in with a, hopefully, full 5v5 as they make their last push. But they need to make sure they don't get caught out down these lines. It feels like occasionally they're just trying to make these risky run-bys of doors or soft walls, and the Skyfire pounce on them.
Flashbang is out.
Yeah, Skyfire just seeming to, they like their kind of rather trap plays kind of thing. They enjoy kind of baiting in rather more so their opponents into that kind of full sense of security, and straight after that just execute Order 66 and just completely deny any push. So meanwhile, it's a solid start for Ghoul though, taking out Sequence. Maestro gone. Same goes for Womai as well, fairly early into the round, so that is already a great beginning. But Archie has something to say about it, even after the fact that he took a very chunky amount of damage.
Yeah, but he's traded back, and oh no, Skyfire are doing it again, but they've lost so much health on this. Archie and Smacker are just about dead here, so you got 3 full health members, but C4 doesn't care about your health bar if you can get it close enough, but he had to run away. Oh no, Jigsaw with all of his health just walks into the line of sight and falls apart, just like the rest of his teammates there, and Bizarre Gaming will finally pick up a round here on Villa, and we do indeed have a map on our hands.
Yeah, there we go. At the very least, this won't be a repetition of the last time Bizarre played Villa against Skyfire, where it was a 7-0. So at the very least, it could be maybe a 7-1, or maybe we are going to be actually seeing a very quality matchup here. But hey, like you said, it's fairly early into the map. For now, Bizarre are just awaiting for the next opportunity to catch Skyfire off guard. Those first 2 entry kills were absolutely phenomenal, and the fact that at the end of those few gunfights both the Vigil and the Goyo were left very low on health already makes quite a good statement as well, and did allow the remainder of Bizarre to clean things up there.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that's what round 1 would have looked like if Jigsaw didn't turn into a god with his push on the roam there and just completely turn the round back. It was looking like it was going in that direction until he pulled it out. So, shot to Bizarre for pulling off another round like that, but actually cleaning it up at the end here. So, at least At least they're swinging back here on the first half, and it's not going to be too bad so far, but they are sticking to pretty much the exact same lineup. Capitao going to be joining the party here for Twent, being likely the main difference here, swapping from the IQ. So I like it because they're moving into flushing them out a little bit more. You can also drain a bit of the magnets with Capitao as well, so it's a little bit easier to deal with the just constant barrage of ADS and magnets you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, another cool thing that Bazaar could do is they could try to go for the same kind of vertical play in a post-plant situation, but instead of having IQ kind of try to track the diffuser, or rather the diffusing tablet, instead of that, have those fire arrows and just shoot them from below upwards, and then the fire will essentially just settle all around the diffuser, which will be dealing tick damage. So there are a few ways that Bazaar could really play it out, and I'm genuinely quite keen to see how will they actually play their cards, because last time we saw a very prompt breach, which then allowed Bazaar to get the few first kills.
My air jab is deployed.
So pretty far droning right now by Twin as well, so they've got some good info to move forward nice and safely. Stairs should be cleared out pretty well. You've got now Ghoul just getting upstairs, droning out now to make sure the hallway's all nice and safe, even keeps the drone nice and safe as well. And so they should be able to make some pretty decent swings around here. The entry frags have been where Bazaar have looked the strongest. They haven't really had to wait until the last pushes, but this could be the first frag here if Ghoul isn't careful and is just a little bit too reckless on those pushes there. But it looks like he's going to be draining as much of the ADS as possible, as much of those magnets. But hey, Mateus, I don't know how he gets more, but he's just been growing them, and he can still throw out a few more as the round continues.
Yeah, those magnets definitely going to make things a whole lot easier. At least to delay even more time. Already half a round gone, and only now Bazaar starting to make some pushes. There's the attempt at breach, which I believe will be completely left uncontested. So at the very least, there's going to be another angle to be opened up with Mateus and Smacker now having to move around a little bit. Could it be
This is going to be good.
the impact trick though come around? Will be coming around, but no, actually breach is fully successful, and now Skyfire are going to start to get a little bit cornered here.
Yeah, this is great for Bazaar. They've opened up everything they need to. So many angles that Skyfire now need to worry about. And they've got so much time for Bazaar to make this push here. They've got all 5 members. Twent, he's got a bit of damage, but that's about it. So this should be it. But look at how far back Skyfire are hanging with a lot of their players. Mateus is now taking a good chunk of damage, but he should be able to be healed up by Doc. Oh no, they've seen the barrel, and Sequence should be able to have this one as soon as Ghoul pokes his head around the corner. So just wait cautiously for that one. But the question is he going to poke his head around the corner? But the first shot now comes out. It's actually Twent around the window too, but oh no, Ghoul was ready. And so it's a killer piece, but Skyfire's fine because there's only 20 seconds to go. But hey, Bazaar is fine too because they've got the plant down. And now it's for Skyfire to make this push back. Not a whole lot of health on Smacker and Mateus. They're going to have to get these swings pretty hard and pretty accurate because that is a scary 4-man squad for Bazaar to hold it down. But they've now lost President, and now it's the push. Skyfire coming out. They're so close, but they remember what happened last time with the diffuser right there above the soft floor. Mateus falls, Smacker falls, and just one more to go for Bazaar to secure this one and tie us up. And Archie, I don't know how he's going to pull this one off. 12 seconds left. He's got one though, so maybe that might be the ticket in. 7 seconds with 2 people to go. I don't think he can do it. That diffuser is just in too dangerous a situation. He's just going to hope to cap the stairs and find a win that way, but no way Bazaar are going to hand that one over as they tie up the map.
This was a much cleaner execution. I absolutely love the angle that Ghoul ended up setting up for himself and ended up creating, rather, emphasizing of the fact that Skyfire did not bother to reinforce that wall, because all that it took is a single wall patch to not be reinforced, and Ghoul was able to really utilize it to create such a nice long crossfire to completely deny Skyfire from making any rotations towards that bar the moment those 2 breaches came through from Thermite. So props to them. They were able to really kind of adapt on the go with the play, with the setup that came through. And well, now they're gonna try to assault dining one more time to see if maybe they could find the success here. You can compare it to what they had on their previous
Attackers need
attempt.
to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
They might be getting a few C4 flashbacks as well, as now Mateus back over onto that pulse. He found a fantastic amount of intel to set not just himself, but his team up to get the C4 kills and basically win the round off of that. So Bizarre, I imagine that wound is going to be fresh in their memory. They're going to know that it's a possibility. They shouldn't be walking into that trap again. So hopefully Skyfire still have something left after that to pull out a win. Of course, they have had a few rounds similar to that, but we've got to see how it goes, because Mateus, it could be
10
all on
seconds
him,
left
whether he
before insertion.
can survive, how well he can keep track of his opponents, and whether
5
they stick
seconds
around on
remaining.
that soft floor just a little bit too long.
Attackers are moving
Yeah.
out to locate a bomb.
Yeah,
and defuse
it definitely Skyfire's ability to drain the time is definitely utilized even better on dining. But curious, how will it be changed around? Given that Smacka is now playing on a slightly different Italian operator, that is the Maestro rather than the Alibi. So that trick with the Alibi Prismas is not going to work, I would imagine, this time. So maybe slightly more anchor-heavy setup and lineup, rather, from Skyfire could maybe grant another win for Skyfire and just keep things fresh for them.
Quite similar live droning here going on, giving Ghoul and Twent the go-ahead to move forward. Jigsaw looks like he's going to fall back just a little bit, because we've got Sequence sitting here on the mute, ready for Ghoul to turn the corner, but it's going to be all about breaching these barricades. Oh, maybe shooting a few feetsies through the wall, but it's not going to be enough, but that is a good amount of damage to put onto Twent.
Air jab planted.
Yeah, it's definitely going to force Twent to be a bit more cautious and to probably approach way less of the gunfights. The fact that he still is alive, though, now that is going to make things a whole lot harder, maybe for Mateus, because he might get tracked pretty quickly with that IQ scanner, and well, a few pre-fires through the floor could pretty much solve the deal with the FBI agent.
Yeah, but you can see Sequence has had the C4 in his hand, just ready to go, because he's got Mateus
Bomb
tracking
located
them,
by attackers.
seeing if you can find them. But of course, like you said, have to be careful of the point. You do not want to get pre-fired through the floor. But all of the doorways now being opened. We've got the openings that we need here. We're tracking pretty much every electronic device on the map right now. But the first kill will be across the map, over to Jigsaw, picking that one up. He took a bit of damage, but hey, that push will work out fine for him.
I'm out.
It sure does. With Ash down now, BB ain't gonna be having any more fun, at least within this round. Jigsaw took us only half of the damage. And while Twent is, I think he just spotted that pulse scanner, but didn't really do much about it. Things might be looking a little bit dicey. 46 seconds, not a single push has been done onto the site. And Smack is still there holding a very tight angle, which I don't think will be contested, at least unless he gets drawn. And just as I said, that happens. And a C4 to come through. And there's finally the trade, but not for long. Sequence with the SMG-11 is just an absolute demon in here. For Twent and Ghoul, they're the two remaining players that could...
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
I don't think, rather, that they will be able to clutch it. But, I'm going to hold my breath here, and brain as well, as I waffle through that. And Sequence to find that shot. 1v3 situation with 13 seconds to go. All the shots are being whiffed here on the side of Bizarre, and Skyfire will maintain their point advantage here.
And just so hard to come back from that after not only has your IQ lost a substantial amount of health, making them play a whole lot riskier, you also had the time drained out quite a lot. So it felt like, yeah, Bizarre made some pretty decent progress towards the site, but once they got there, they just sort of hit a bit of a brick wall, weren't able to push through. Plenty of time bought by Skyfire at the end there. And then also, not to mention some amazing heads-up plays by Sequence, you know, the C4 helping along by Mateus, who's been tracking all the opponents on that pulse, so they were able to hold the line pretty well, and then there was a lot of attention put onto Smacker too, so a really solid performance coming out from Skyfire on that one. Again, a lot of it came from the opening to the round, I imagine, where they kept Bizarre back, didn't really give them too much ground to work with, and also forced them to play a little more cautiously. So they take the lead here so far, but Bizarre will have one more round to try and tie it up here in the first half.
Yeah, only one more round to try to tie it up. For Skyfire, I mean, they're definitely looking at netting themselves that fourth point just to make things a little bit more bearable on the attack. Albeit that Bazaar were able to show a very nice, very confident push last time they were attacking AVG, so things might turn around here, but well, only one way to find out really, as the prep timer is ticking down and we're just about to get into the action. It's a very interesting concept with the Iron Sights pairing 9 for the Echo of Smacker, but nonetheless, actually, matter of fact, this is the first time we are seeing the Echo to be picked out on this map so far in this matchup, so curious how will he be able to disrupt the plan, because this where sequence is right now, this is the common plan spot for Bazaar, and a single Echo drone to stay there should essentially solve all the issues now that there's no IQ on the side of Bazaar.
Yeah, and also not to mention, like last time they had a plant in that situation, Skyfire almost managed to deny it, but I bet they were wishing they would have had a yokai drone for that. It would have been invaluable, and it very likely would have made them not sweat so much on that round, where they did manage to clutch out the win, but it was just by the hair of a dog to pull it out, but pull it out they did, so I imagine this Echo is going to be quite good, but already we're seeing a bit of damage onto Sequence. Luckily, he can just fall back pretty far. Maestro is pretty happy to just chill out back and anchor hard on the side, but that was a fun little drone coming out from Ghoul. If he's going to be a little risky, he could go for a swing, but looks like just the normal play, just a standard push to give a little bit of line of sight here to AFX.
A really big fucking hole coming.
Interesting that it's Ghoul actually opening up the window for AFX rather than AFX doing it, and well, it seems that should allow at least an element of surprise there to be done. Sequence trying to get that impact trick, and there it is. Yeah, we'll be able to actually make it work really nicely. So only one more try to be done there by Bazaar, and it seems that Archie is actually now going to go for that impact trick, which, you know, who knows, maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. There's only one way to find out, because right now Smack is actually going for that more so of a defensive drone, which should allow some more information for the attackers to figure out where the breach could be happening.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, it feels like Skyfire just have an open book to play with right now. They know where everyone is on Bazaar. They've denied the plant already. Jigsaw, he's waiting in the wings, kind of ready to go for a big push again to see if he can pull it off. They've also pulled out smoke again, so they can buy even more time. And the first gas grenade does go out with 40 seconds to go, so this should be looking like the push ready to come through soon by Bazaar, but where's the breach? There it is, so they finally have a hole in, but I imagine it's going to be filled up with gas very, very shortly, so we've got to see them push now, and push they do. They find a kill onto Archie. That's the first step. They get into the plant position, so if they can hold this, it's going to be good, and there goes Smacker. No yokais to deny the plant if they can push back here. Skyfire, they've got to find a way to hold this. They start by taking out President, who had the diffuser. Are Bazaar going to be able to find it? Yes, they can. Ghoul is close enough, but they have to start going for the plant soon. They down Mateus, Jigsaw on a breath of health right now, but it's the pushback by Bazaar. The plant now by Ghoul, and they take him out. As now Jigsaw falls and Bazaar, they tie up the half.
Oh my, that was probably a little bit too close to the comfort zone there for Bazaar, but they did manage to bring it back for themselves. So yeah, 3 apiece scoreline after the first half is going to be guaranteeing us a very close matchup here between the two teams. AVG has been quite a banger of a sight to really witness between these two teams. Absolutely love the way how aggressive Ghoul went the moment he realized that, hey, they got Echo, we really need to deal with him first. We really need to lock one of the two sides down. And so he did. He went in, got that frag, and gotten rid of Smacker, albeit those Echo drones were still a massive nuisance and allowed Jigsaw to pick up a single frag and almost a second one, but yeah, at the end of the day, Bazaar were just a little bit quicker on the frags,
Attackers need
let's
to
just say
locate
that.
and defuse as many bombs as they can.
And now that Ubisoft sides here with Thulu, the operator lineup is pretty much the same, but there is one little operator that does stand out to me here, is President's Frost. So interesting to see that one picked up. I'm kind of curious to see if that's going to be the difference maker, if it's going to maybe perhaps catch Skyfire by a bit of surprise. I mean, the traps are pretty easy to see,
Attackers
so
have located a bomb.
very likely they shouldn't be caught out by any of them, but if Bazaar are good at running down that clock and putting the pressure on the Skyfire in a similar way that we saw Skyfire do, then maybe they find themselves falling into some of those frost mats.
I mean, the main thing here, I reckon we're going to be seeing is those frost mats to be positioned in that walk-in closet there where President is right now. That double setup is extremely hard to really shoot through. So if you are jumping in, planning to take out both of them, you need some amazing accuracy and an amazing burst luck with the hip fire, because otherwise you are still falling into one of those bear traps, and well, you're going to be downed pretty quickly. So that is one of the ideas behind the pick of Frost on this very specific side. Plus, she still brings in the ballistic shield, so that's another point of cover for the defense.
Well, as we start things off, you got Smacker and Jigsaw. I mean, these guys love moving over together, and they'll be looking for some pretty crazy swings here. But it will be Smacker to move forward first towards the stairs on this Ash, and he's seeing if anyone's going to be hanging around. He won't find anyone just yet, but if he continues his ascent, well, he could be in for a bit of a surprise, maybe a bit of danger. I don't think it'll be a surprise, as he looks very cautious and very prepared right now.
Located by attackers.
But he won't find anyone just yet. You've also got Jigsaw, like I mentioned before. They split up and he's quite far apart. It's mostly just these two scouting out what they can for now, but this is a fair amount of time that Skyfire is spending doing this.
Quite a fair bit of utility being already dumpstered right into the master bedroom, just to ensure that nobody and nothing is holding those angles. Ghoul might run into the sides of the R4C, and there it is. Smacker, fantastic roam clear, and some flank hunt as well. Jigsaw to kick things off as well into AFX, gonna make things much better there for Skyfire, but Bizarre do manage to trade things back, but there's already Sequence holding an angle. Smacker is already finding yet another one, and this is seeming like this is just about to fall through for Bizarre. Only 2 players remaining against the 4-man team, and with the breach already done, President is taking quite a fair bit of damage. Already the drone will be giving away the position of the Frost, and well, this is just about to be all over Red Rover in just a matter of just a few seconds, really.
Yeah, and there's just so much time that Skyfire absolutely don't have to worry here at all. Like you mentioned, they found out where the Frost was, so should be pretty easy to turn. There's the plant, so round all but secured here by Skyfire, short of some kind of miracle play by by President. That maybe the gods are answering his prayers, as he got a free kill there onto Smacker, but with that, his position now revealed, and they knew exactly where he was, so they'll be able to pick up round 7 after a really strong opening there.
Yeah, Skyfire managed to show us a fantastic push onto the side, being able to really methodically pick out the roamers, then start collapsing onto the side, pick out any aggressors, and then pretty much just force the defenders out of their comfort position, out of the site, get the plant, and well, at that point it was pretty much, that's it. That's all she wrote.
Good roam clear and good pushes from Skyfire, so it's promising now that they've come into attack, but the question is, are we going to see similar defense coming out from Bizarre in the following rounds? I always say that once we swap halves, that's where you know if we're going to continue going around back and forth, or if one team suddenly gets their preferred side. It looks like a strong push by Skyfire in that round, so perhaps this is where they're really going to start coming up to full power. It certainly felt like Smacker started turning on during that round, absolutely going Super Saiyan with some of those kills, so I expect a bit more of that as we come into the next round here. Found quite a lot of success, so Skyfire should be feeling a ton of momentum here so far, but different site now, so Bizarre will have another shot here. The Frost has now been dropped, so we're back to a few more reliable and tried and true operators here, so everyone should be very comfortable on the operators they're playing.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, at this point it's pretty much set in stone, most of those ops. Curious that, yeah, we don't see a whole lot of changes in the lineups whenever we had a bit of a side change between the two teams, so it's rather the approach that we're seeing, mainly from Skyfire, whereas Bizarre went for more so of kind of top-down clear and tried to be as effective as possible without really taking a whole lot of time and a whole lot of ground. Skyfire are going for a completely polar opposite. They going bottom to the top, clear, making sure that every nook and cranny has been checked and that nothing will be left unchecked, and trying to maybe find some early frags there.
Yeah, and the great thing is they get to send the big boys, Smacker and Jigsaw, here to do it. There was maybe, I think, a little bit of a tussle, but no one took any damage there just before. But Smacker, a really important kill early on when he picked up that roam clear. He is waiting cautiously to see if anyone is camping that hole, but as we can see, no one hanging out there just for now, and so maybe looking up at that hole for a little while. A few shots here from the top of the stairs from Sequence, just maybe predicting someone coming up here, but no one for now. And Smacker, with a bit of help with Jigsaw's drone, should be able to make a pretty decent little push here onto the site B. Maybe, if he can get around here, he's going to have to be very careful, but so we can see there's a few silhouettes poking around in the room just ahead, but it's really just President's line of sight that he's going to have to worry about.
And that drone should reveal a little bit of that information. The moment Smacker realizes that there is somebody, oh, Ghoul could actually sneak up as well if Smacker knows about that. But it's Sequence to open things up right now, and maybe with the whole sound of the chaos happening, Ghoul might be able to make that move. Tries to sneak in, shift walks around, and will be finding that shot onto Smacker. Fantastic start, but there's already a Jigsaw already sowing chaos around and just above the site. So now it's down to 3 anchoring operators just around the site and just awaiting for the right moment to peek in, because right now the rest of the Skyfire roster will start wreaking havoc.
Bizarre bought themselves a little bit of time here to just kill right now, but Skyfire, they're going to have to start making this one go. I don't believe they've got the breach. The swings are starting now to happen. AFX with a very aggressive push with the shotgun, takes the damage, but sends back in return. No one falling. There it is, though. AFX will fall, but it's just a trade as Mateus goes down to 30 seconds left, and Skyfire, they've got the members to go, and they've even got one more kill. So it's just BB left. He's going to have to find these kills, but no, cannot find that headshot over the wall, and Skyfire will clean him up as well.
Nicely done by Skyfire, being able to get the dub there on Dining and extend their point lead by 2 now rather than just 1. And right now, 3-5 scoreline is certainly looking quite yummy for them. Only 2 rounds remaining for them to win the map and get themselves the map advantage here before they go into Cafe. Whereas for Bizarre, it's still a plentiful and a pretty long road if they want to succeed here.
Yeah, they got a few more rounds to pull out. This half not really going so well. It is only 2 rounds in, so this third one here might be the opportunity for them to pull it back. But I mean, we are potentially 1 round away from Skyfire picking up that match point. If that happens, then you really start to sweat if you're a Bizarre fan, because that is where it gets really awkward. You're on that must win every round situation. You have to then worry about overtime as well. So Skyfire, they should be feeling pretty comfortable here, but the real lazy boy situation will be if they pick up that 6th round, because then they don't feel the pressure anymore. They're guaranteed that overtime.
Yeah, if the round will come through here for Skyfire within this round number 9, yeah, at the very least, Skyfire will be ensured that they will have plenty of room to really play around. If they will have a few hiccups in the rounds, it's still going to be all right, because they will be guaranteeing themselves the overtime, but that's still yet to be taken. That win still needs to happen really before they will get that comfortable. But at the very least, yeah, they have that 2-round buffer, which Bizarre don't now. And yeah, so far their defense has been quite shaky, I gotta say.
Yeah, we've been hyping up Smacker and Jigsaw as they're the main ones to make the pushes downstairs, but Sequence has actually been popping off too, particularly on defense mostly, but that last round, he got some pretty excellent swings. It was really all about him, so pulling it off again, it feels like, again, we've got just every member able to pull something off here for Skyfire, so it shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. We see it happen week to week, but one more chance to do it here on attack. They take a bit of time to get into the position. They do run it pretty close to the clock here, but once they do move in, they usually pick up either a really good trade, like a 2-for-1, or just free kills, just like 2 kills for nothing sometimes. So Skyfire are dangerous once they get that position they want, but Bizarre could kind of push them a little harder on that time that they buy. I think Bizarre have that window. I want to see if they can make it work.
I'm interested with the fact that Bizarre are also kind of expanding a little bit more so just outside of the site. They got BB and Ghoul actually playing on the main stairs where Jigsaw is about to start contesting. And right now it's quite tough here for Skyfire to make the move, but they might just have the angles. That is a really tight one to play out. And with the Ash charges starting to come through, they were hoping that they would be able to maybe find an angle or two, but right now President is toying with his fate because there are already sights aimed right at that breach hole, and up goes the melon. Maybe two, as right now he just whiffs the shots. Ghoul is ready to pick up that frag, but instead it's Mateus that will be going down to the hands of BB, and well, Jigsaw will be potentially getting just another chance to really try to get the revenge on his teammate.
That could have been so different if Jigsaw got that second kill. It would have really set up Skyfire for the rest of the push, but now, as we can see, it's starting to fall apart. Archie's now down. He managed to get the breach, but that's about it, as he's now gone out of here. Jigsaw is also basically dead with his amount of health. But once more, Bizarre run that clock down, so only 35 seconds. I believe they've still got a pocket full of gas grenades, and they've got the beautiful lines of sight too. So AFX able to snipe that one down too, and it's just two left now, and it's the low health Jigsaw as well. You may be able to hold this line, get the surprise, but 20 seconds means he's got to move now against some pretty heavy anchors, and BB is going to be hot on his tail too. So
15 seconds
Jigsaw,
to go.
you've got to go now, mate, and Sequence has got to back you up. They've got some good lines, but
10
you
seconds
cannot
to
go
go.
through that gas. Jigsaw especially, as he gets pushed on, it's just
5
now
seconds
Sequence left to go. He knows he can't make it through the gas in 3 seconds, and so he'll just hang back and keep his honor alive.
At the very least, yeah, we'll be able to keep the stats going for him as well. But yeah, that was a really confident hold by Bizarre of AVG. They were able to finally kind of get a hold of their situation, stop the round bleed as well. So only single round difference here between the two teams. May just be able to find themselves one more round to even it out, and then from there on it's kind of rather going to be a decider as to which team will be able to grant themselves a match point and maybe a win further down the line. But yeah, this was definitely a really well-coordinated push here for trophy statuary. They won't be going for the similar kind of experimental pick with the Frost. Rather, they're just going to stick to a bit more standardized pick. They are bringing in the Alibi, which is once again is kind of a bit of a wild card pick, you could say, to a certain degree, where she could be used as a roamer or as an anchor, and with her prismas you can do quite a few things to trick the position. But Bizarre actually going for a very interesting setup, given that I believe they are actually going to be reinforcing only 2 panels of the wall into the master bedroom and leaving one of them soft, so maybe some rotation potential could be coming through here.
Yeah, rotation's going to be pretty sweet. They've also got the smoke to kind of be a backup there. They can just chuck a gas grenade in it if it does become a problem, another point of entry. But you're right, I mean, it could be maybe a point of contention for Skyfire to push, maybe a little bit of a soft wound for them to kind of dig into to get that match point. The last push wasn't super great coming in from Skyfire. They once more had the clock ran down a little bit, and they had to kind of push in a situation where perhaps they wouldn't really like to, and so it was a little bit awkward, but a good hold by Bizarre. This one, though, of course, going to be a bit different. You're going to have to see President, I believe, is going to have to step up a bit here, be very creative on that Alibi. There's a lot you can do with it, like you were saying, but we've got to see it work here.
Yeah, let's see how things will really work out here. Archie is already going to try to make a push here into the walk-in closet, master bedroom. See if maybe he can drain out the ADSs. But apart from that, really, the ADSs are still yet to be done. A bit of a trade to come through from Mateus and President, and AFX to double down on that one, able to turn the man count into Bizarre's favor.
Yeah, right on the outside too, so that is pretty devastating. At least it happens early on, I suppose. So now Skyfire can start planning how they're going to make this one work, but BB does not like plans. He does not like sitting down and thinking about it. He just wants to push out and get that kill, and get it he does, and runs away on basically no health. Now you're looking at a terrible situation here if you're Skyfire. You might pick up 1 kill here, but there's still half the round to make the 2v3 work, and that kill might be what they need.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a misplay here by AFX. Maybe this could potentially open up for Skyfire maybe some opportunities to get the frags, but Archie is already taken up just a little bit, still is able to get into a full-fledged gunfight. The main offender here is going to be Smacker because he's got the R4C. He has been fantastic on the fragging, but not for this round as it's Twent to actually shut him down. It's all down to Archie. 1v3 situation with 50 seconds remaining, and well, with BB now down, it's a 1v2 situation. Glorify, make it 1v1, 45 seconds. Archie could potentially clutch this out. He can do it. He knows the position now, and actually we'll be able to clutch it. Skyfire, absolutely nuts, and able to score themselves the match point.
I mean, what is that? I feel like we've seen Smacker do things like this just a million times, and he does it again right there. I mean, he's pogging hard in the chat right now, so even he is surprising himself, but you're right, that's now match point. That's a painful way, if you're Bizarre, to see your opponents move to match point as well, so they've got to collect themselves here because they've got to win the next 2 rounds in a row. They're now on do or die. They cannot lose a round, so a big brain play. I honestly thought that was done for Skyfire. They had been shot down, but I mean, like I was saying, at least it happened early so they could plan and make it work.
Yeah, but it just seems that the tail of the Yule Fragmite has managed to make a return here. Skyfire looking so dominant now that they were able to steal away that round after so much effort has been put by Bizarre, but alas, maybe that round was not meant to be taken by Bizarre, and well, for what could be potentially the final round, Statuary is going to be the final site to be defended here by Bizarre.
Certainly cannot afford to lose any more rounds here, so you're going to have to pull everything off, but like we've been seeing, Bizarre have managed to pull a lot of these rounds quite close. It's not like Skyfire have been just washing over them. Of course, last round, a big example of that. If it wasn't for the big clutch at the end, then Bizarre would have been tying up the series. We wouldn't have had to deal with this match point situation, and it would have been a very tight game, but now this is just, it's such a different story when you're sitting at a 4-6 rather than a 5-5. I mean, obviously, yeah, cool, that's, you know, a little bit different because you're tied up now, it's 1 point difference, but it honestly feels like a lot when you're a player. You sit there and you think, man, we could have been tied up, we could have had an extra round to lose as backup if we really needed to, but big difference here now, 2 rounds in a row just to get into overtime. It's just painful, and they've got to just forget that round, move into the next few, and not drop a single frag here, but there it is. What an opening sequence again, the man is a legend so far here on Philip.
Yeah, Sequence so far has been able to make a few really nice openings there for Skyfire. So, oh my god, look at so much utility being drained out already, but there goes all of the ADSs. Six projectiles were eaten up by those ADSs, so now, oh man, things are definitely looking quite scary here for Bizarre, given that they already lost out on Twent and very early into the round, so no more of those my magnets will be brought on board. And with President actually finding the shot into Sequence, at the very least, some redemption is in place.
Sequence, or at least his team, did get a bit of revenge onto President, but I mean, hey, you'll be okay with that. It's still the defensive health bars at a bit of a disadvantage. Once more, though, Skyfire have done this quickly, so they've got the time to make it work, and you know, they've still got a lot of these ADS down, but President, he's still on a rampage, as Archie will be the next to fall. That's the thermite off the board, so Skyfire, well, they bought the time, they better start using it, because they've got to find a way in without a hard breach.
Yeah, well, seems that they have managed to find that. It's Mateus to actually open up onto Ghoul. That's the castle going down. Now we're back to a 3 versus 3. A very potent position here. Skyfire were able to clutch out previously from a 1v3. Here it looks like they just might be able to maybe bring this back once again. Smacker is still alive. Jigsaw is still there. Mateus, the person who was able to perform really well after being introduced, I believe, halfway through the season, still there, able to really frag out. Right now, Smacker has a very powerful position at the back stairs into the Astro, where he could actually force, I believe that's BB, out of his position.
Gonna be painful that he didn't manage to score that frag, though. That would have secured them the round. But Jigsaw, well, he's here to clean it up. In fact, give him 2 brooms because he is going hard. And now it's just AFX. And look, Smacker, the janitor himself there, will clean it up too. And look at that. Just such a clean Villa coming out. And it's no surprise why Skyfire picked the map.
Yeah, Skyfire showing once again why they're so dominant on Villa. They just seeming to be absolutely too powerful here, and there's no way to stop them really here. So maybe Cafe could be a different story here, but certainly this was not one of the better performances here from Bazaar.
Certainly a little bit better than last time we saw them play, but of course, like you mentioned, that was when they had a sub. We thought, yeah, there's going to be more power. Of course there will be, now that we've got the full lineup. So 4 rounds is great, but it still felt like it was very heavily in the side of Skyfire, particularly once they moved over to attack. But Cthulhu, this is a best of 3. We still have a chance for them to come back, and Bazaar will have an opportunity to do that after the break when we go to their map pick in Cafe Dostoyevsky. See you after that break. Welcome back, Rainbow Six fans. You are just joining us smack bang in the middle of a best of 3 semi-finals. Right now, we've got Skyfire 1 game up against Bazaar Gaming as they fell on Villa. But now we get to go to their map pick, Cthulhu. We get to go to Cafe for the first time in Season 2 here. So can we expect anything? Because we don't know. We haven't seen Bazaar on Cafe.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, a few things could really happen. Maybe Bazaar were prepping a Cafe here for a long while and just hiding it throughout the whole round robin season. Or maybe they just never really bothered to play it, barely practice it, and maybe we'll be seeing a complete whiff central. It's a bit of a 50-50 toss-up there. Everything could really happen, but I mean, for Skyfire, at the very least, they did not really have a very impressive performance last time against Ferox. So maybe that could really play into the hands of Bazaar. Maybe they would be able to really claim the map number 2 into their favor, but that's still yet to be seen, really. Maybe another thing that could happen is that Skyfire were just prepping all of those maps, prepping all of the strats, and just being making sure, really, rather, that they know all the approaches of Bazaar and just trying to really tap into their maybe mentality of how they approach. Because if you take a look, Bazaar, even I believe Sushi actually mentioned it on yesterday's interview as well, that they're fairly predictable, really, to figure out where they're going to push, how they're going to push, and what kind of momentum. So maybe here it's going to be a similar thing, and maybe Skyfire are just going to stomp through them and get that 2-0.
Yeah, well, I mean, their first map was not quite a stomp, I suppose, but it was a pretty solid step down of the foot to pull off the win there, 7-4 on Villa. But now, because it's Bazaar's map pick, it has to be a strong opening from them. They have to have something in their back pocket, because it's got to look very different to map number 1. If Bazaar want to come back, send us to map 3 so we can go to Oregon. Otherwise, you're facing down the barrel of another 2-0. I mean, we had one last night. Skyfire are feeling like they're primed to do it again, but I wonder if that's going to be an issue, because it does feel like either if it's not a secret strategy coming out from Bazaar, then they really just picked Cafe to because they've at least got some pretty recent footage from Skyfire on it, and that's footage where they were losing rounds, so they can even find out how to take them down on the rounds. So that's decent, but is it going to be enough to make it as different to map 1 as possible? I'm not sure. But that said, It's because we haven't seen them on the map all season that I'm not sure exactly what to expect. And if Bazaar are predictable, then, well, how hard can you predict them on a map you've never seen them play?
Well, I think it's mainly going to be based off the first, say, about 3 rounds or so, where Bazaar may get the initial lead, may be able to get the 3 points, and then after that, it could be that Skyfire would fully adapt to the general pace of how Bazaar really approached this, and kind of from there on, maybe we'll be seeing a bit of a reverse sweep. Who knows? Because, yeah, like we mentioned, first time for Bazaar, and it could be a very quick game, or it could be a very close one. Maybe overtime could be ensued. But for what I know, this is where Bizarre need to find their win if they want to even have a chance at staying in the matchup. Because Oregon is certainly going to be a tough one. I don't think this is going to be a stomp either way, in either favor. But it is going to be a struggle fest for both of the sides either way. So Cafe is kind of the proving ground where Bizarre need to ensure that they get their composure back up and running, where they reset themselves from Villa and from the few kind of hiccups that they had. Because let's be honest, on Villa, a few of their pushes, a few of their defenses, they were very misplaced, unorganized, and it wasn't just as well gelling as probably would have wanted it to be.
Yeah, but that's also something that we sort of brought up, before the show, is that we were talking about, is it going to be the peak Skyfire or the peak Bizarre that shows up? I mean, hopefully we get both, but it certainly feels like Skyfire, at least a few of their players, are certainly showing up tonight. I mean, big shout out to Sequence, as he kept consistently really just on fire throughout that entire map. I mean, defense, attack, it didn't really matter. He was having a blast, but he was also backed up by Smacker and Jigsaw, who were also having a great few rounds too. So it feels like they've got the solid lineup. They've got the mechanical skill now on fire. They've warmed up. Bizarre, maybe it was a bit of a slow start. Maybe they're able to come back now that they're a little warmed up. But I mean, is warming up really enough when Skyfire are literally on fire right now?
Who knows? Who knows? But Villa definitely, if it wasn't a wake-up call, I don't know what else will be coming through. We do also get a quick look at what are the maps that will be played out. Already we saw Villa, which did result in a 7-4 scoreline. Cafe is just up next. We are just having a few technical difficulties, so bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, I mean, Oregon is still one of those maps. I mean, if Bizarre will continue playing how they did on Villa, I don't think we might be seeing Oregon. But Cafe, I feel, is definitely going to be a less comfortable ground for Skyfire. Maybe we are going to be seeing a bit more withdrawn playstyle from Skyfire, whereas Bizarre might be having a few cheeky plays here and there. Maybe we'll be seeing something similar across the lines of how Smacker was utilizing Alibi on the dining, for example, in similar to what happened in Villa. So few things could really pan out here. Gotta give a big props as well to Ghoul, to the whole of Bizarre roster. They were doing their best. They were able to find a few frags, but yeah, ultimately it wasn't really working there. But actually, I want to, since we do have quite some time to actually talk about maybe Theory Craft for the next week as well, who do you reckon will be able to give the most amount of challenge here for Ferox? Now that we know at least one team that goes into grand finals, do you reckon it could be Bizarre that will be given a whole lot more hassle to Ferox? Or do you reckon it's Skyfire that could maybe bring in the heat?
Well, I mean, Cthulhu, I can take the easy way out here and just look at what happened on Villa and say, yeah, Skyfire are certainly looking like the strongest one to come into it, because they're the ones showing up tonight. So it's on their map pick, though, and it felt like they got a really good start. So I feel like it's not fair to answer that question until we get to see Bizarre on their map pick onto Cafe, because maybe that is what turns it around. You can never judge a best of three just from map number one. We've seen a series where you have map one, something like a 7-1 scoreline, and then it just completely flip-flops when you go to map number two with the team coming right back. So you can never count a team out, even if they are looking a bit shaky on map number one. Remember, they're also getting a bit of time here, as you know, obviously we're in a bit of technical issues right now. So the players themselves will have this time to be talking amongst themselves, recollecting themselves. Of course, Skyfire are already pretty onto it, but Bizarre, with whatever happened on Villa, I think right now they'll be recollecting themselves, and the real test is going to be once we hit on Cafe, whether that's actually done anything, whether that's going to be enough to turn it around. Because if it is, then, well, I'll give you another answer after Cafe. But right now, it's certainly all the evidence I've got right now is Skyfire.
Yeah, I'm rather more also curious. That's the kind of question I've been pondering myself throughout the whole evening as to what could be maybe the ban phase as well for tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, pardon, rather Wednesday next week. Because if Skyfire will go through, say 2-1 against Bazaar this time, and we are going to be seeing Skyfire versus Ferox. I'm curious whether Ferox will even allow Villa to go through, because so far we've seen actually them fairly clinically ban out Villa and just not even let it through. Whereas we saw quite a whole lot of Clubhouse, quite a fair bit of Cafe to really come through, and maybe this is where Ferox could really get the upper hand, because I'm pretty sure I'll still have to look through the notes, but I think even the last time we saw Skyfire and Ferox play, we didn't see actually Villa to actually come through. So maybe even on the ban phase, Ferox could really win out on that one. But that's still all very much a theory craft here.
Yeah, and it's also 1 week in the future right now, but yeah, I feel like that one could be a really exciting grand final. Of course, Skyfire, yeah, I've been saying it all night, have been on the up, on the rise as we got to the end of the round robin stage. It feels like that's just continuing as they haven't lost any momentum coming into the semifinals. Bizarre. I don't want to say they've hit a snag or anything because they have shown up to play tonight, as they did, obviously a lot better than last time on Villa. But 4 rounds, and some of those rounds were quite close, actually. And I do want to talk about that, Cthulhu, because think about some of those rounds that came right down to the wire where it slipped out of Bazaar's fingers. That could have easily been overtime. That could have easily been even them skipping overtime, right? Remember round 1? Where Skyfire just pulled off a heist and stole that one away from Bazaar?
Yeah, if the first round, and I believe that was the 10th round where it was the trophy defense, if those 2 rounds would have gone into the hands of Bazaar, this would have been a completely different game, a completely different matchup, where Bazaar would have been actually leading the scoreline and potentially could have been able to get either the overtime or maybe even the early dub. But yeah, unfortunately for them, maybe they weren't too ready for the sheer amount of aggression and maybe some agility that Skyfire could have brought in with them. But yeah, at the end of the map, it was still Skyfire's comfort zone.
Oh yeah, like major props to Skyfire for actually stealing those rounds away. But it does just say that you can't just sit back and say, "Oh yes, 7-4, like that's a solid lead from them," because some of those rounds could have easily just been lost. So the scoreline maybe perhaps doesn't tell the entire story. Kind of sometimes how like a 2-0 doesn't always tell the whole story. Sort of like even last night's semifinals, that was a good example of that. But I feel like, yeah, as we are getting confirmation that the players are just about into the lobby right now, we should be actually getting into Cafe pretty soon right now. So thank you guys for waiting in the queue right now. We've got a flat white coming up for you to help you with the wait here, compensate you a little bit. But as you want to get into it, you want to be hyped up for this one, especially right now if you're a Skyfire fan, because I've been saying it the whole night. They're on fire. They're totally showing up to play right now. Maybe this little bit of break in momentum here, thanks to the tech issues, could be giving Bazaar the breathing room, the space they need to recollect themselves. But they have to. They have to, because map number 1 on Villa, it just was a little bit short for them to pull off a dub.
Yeah, this is where they need to make that comeback. This is where they need to really start getting their plays done well, coordination getting nailed down, because otherwise they are looking at just an absolute obliteration here. There we are. Cafe Dostoevsky is coming right in as map number 2.
That's right, and Bazaar, your fans, any Bazaar fans in the chat watching right now, make sure you call in for their support. Maybe call in on your Vodafone as well to sort them out. Maybe don't call the players, they're a bit busy right now, but call up your mum and tell them that you're watching Bazaar's game and you want them to pull off a win here, because we're getting into Cafe. This is Bazaar's pick. This is their time to come back. And Cthulhu, we got an Ash ban.
Yeah, that is an unusual one, but that is a direct ban onto Smacker. The man won't be seeing a whole lot of success or a whole lot of play rather on that operator, at least for this map. And well, the last ban could be coming through, which could make things a whole lot better here, but it's going to be rather mirror. So the only big one is the Ash ban, and well, Maverick to kind of top it off. Well, that's one of the hard breaches plus the grenades are going to be off board.
Okay, so we could be feeling a few players here pushed off of their comfort pick. A lot of players feel right at home on that Ash, so they're gonna have to swap over to something else. I mean, Buck's gonna be a fairly decent replacement. Of course, Zofia is also, Ash Light, or some people might say it, Ash is Zofia Light. Who knows? But there are a few other options right now, but of course, these players will likely have these operators under their belt. But here we go, Cafe. This is Bazaar's pick. They can come back into this one swinging hard, but if Skyfire start pulling ahead early, if they start getting a few rounds, remember they picked up the first 2 rounds on Bill in a row, that could just kill the hope, the mental, the everything about Bazaar that could bring them back into this one. So this opening needs to be very strong from Bazaar to show Skyfire they're here to play.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Skyfire actually prompting to actually go for the second floor reading defense rather than kicking things off on bar. So it's going to be very curious start for the defense, and well, yet remains to be seen whether this is going to be a very clever decision, or rather it's more so of just kind of poke in the dark.
ADS deployed and ready to go.
Well, remember we saw some pretty crazy C4 kills. Mateus and Sequence, just such a good duo to be able to do that. They were, almost like a defender's version of live droning to track them and just chuck a C4 onto them through the floor. But we'll see if they'll get the same opportunities here. Of course, Bazaar were out by a few times, so they should be knowledgeable about this. They should know that this is something that could happen, so they'll be ready to pull it off. So let's open it up here as we jump into round number 1. Everyone's prepped up, everyone's ready to go. Let's get in here. No Ashes. We're just gonna have to go for Zofia instead. Let's see what Bazaar are gonna pull off. Let's go up the stairs by Gulmau.
Yeah, Ghoul and Zofia was absolutely sensational in the previous map and was able to get a few pushes, but FO12 is just a little bit more powerful. A little bit of a trade to come around with BB finding the shot onto Archie, but Smacker is already able to find a few shots. Meanwhile, there's actually already a full-on push straight onto site. Mateus to find a C4 as well. It's all just falling apart. It's a 1v2 straight away, and there's already some vertical pressure to be coming through. It's all down to Twent, the Capitao, the lone survivor of the Bazaar group, whereas it's Jigsaw and Sequence are just waiting to completely collapse on their opponent. With the diffuser now being recovered, the plant could be potentially going down, but Sequence needs to be eliminated first if the plant needs to go down as effortlessly as it can.
That camera, though, would have seen exactly where he was right now. The plant looks like it's going to confirm, so we're now in a post-plant situation. A 2v1, so they're going to have to move in and make sure they get this crossfire on Twent absolutely perfectly. The first push comes, but it's Twent to come out on top. He loses half his health. This sequence is in. 30 seconds to plan it out. First flash coming out. Is it going to be the C4 to save the round? And yes, it will be. Sequence scoring that one and running in to disable the diffuser.
Yeah, that was a very good throw as well of the C4 sequence. Yeah, nicely done there. And well, that's it for the round number 1. Gotta say, it was a very nice flick though by Twent to try to get rid of the Jaeger. So yeah, it's definitely very nice.
And again, it kind of feels like Skyfire, maybe not so much of a stolen round, that one, kind of compared to round 1 on Villa, but it definitely felt like they could have had it. It felt like Twent was close to swinging back onto that one, but just trapped too hard in the corner. But to be honest, I'm surprised he managed to even snag that diffuse situation. He managed to actually get the plant down, but it's a good play on him there and to pick up the kill afterwards, but it's just such a difficult position there. And oh boy, this one could be fun because Do could be maybe, no, of course not. You've got the thermite there, so why would you swap off that one, boys?
Yeah, Thermite to a Thermite is the bigger brain sixth pick here.
Attackers
Definitely something that we see occasionally happen from some of the teams, but yeah, I mean,
have located a bomb.
I'm surprised that Bazaar are actually not running a double hard breach, because Hibana, even whilst being the hard breacher, she still has a very potent line loadout. Both of her guns are very much able to dish out a fair few good frags, and well, with her being a 3-speed, she can pretty much dodge a fair few shots as well if they know that the opposing team's aim is not particularly that great. But Skyfire seems to be just lighting up their opponents pretty well here, and well, just leaving no chances whatsoever for any kind of redemption. So maybe they won't even need to really deal with Hibana. Maybe at this point it's just Bazaar kind of trying to claw away maybe one or two rounds and maybe try to give some sort of solace for themselves.
I do want to say in round one, though, that we did see Bazaar swing back kind of in the middle of the round. They were down like in a 2v4 or something, but oh, hang on, just hold that thought, because that is a quick frag onto Smacker, and now 2.5 minutes to just pull in a 5v4. This is looking much better for Bazaar.
Yeah, this is looking swell. A solid beginning onto Smacker out of all the players. This is certainly looking pretty good, but Bazaar still need to find 4 more frags. We already saw how dangerous Skyfire can be in those 1v3s or 2v3 situations where they were able to really claw away the dubs from Bazaar. And oh, goal, just completely not ready for that very speedy Jaeger to run past, and well, able to actually go for a run out. Will be potentially trying to assist Sequence, but it's Sequence, he just doesn't care. He gets the run out onto the repelling President, and well, that's the hard breacher going out.
Yeah, you know, the classic bandit run out sequence, just feeling it tonight. And like you said, yeah, the hard breacher now gone. That's pretty rough in a round where we thought Bazaar were going to have a pretty strong opening. But, well, now they've got to make the 4v4 work. They've got to do it without a breach. They, like you said, don't have Hibana as a backup. So they've got to find a different way onto the site right now. And, well, I think Skyfire are going to be stoked about that one. They still have Jigsaw moving around on the hunt. Sequence has been pretty ballsy on some of his pushes as well, so Bazaar should never really feel safe, especially when they're being funneled into the site. They might have bought themselves a lot of time with that opening, but a minute here, they've got a bit of presence, but it's going to be enough here. They might be able to set up a pretty good push, but all things considered, it's not like it's going to change how they're going to get into the site.
Yeah, not really. There's still going to be a plentiful amount of choke points that already Skyfire set up for their opposing teams. So yeah, this is definitely going to be quite a challenge, but still comebackable here. They definitely need to make sure that they drone out and make sure that they know that there is the crossfire being set up between the castle and the Jaeger. And so maybe, just maybe, they might be able to find those openers and those opening frags. Or maybe this is going to be completely dished out. Interestingly enough, complete cutoff of the sight line for the castle, but it doesn't matter. It's already a full-on collapse. It's a 3v2, already went down 2v2, glorified rather 3v2, and well, with the plan actually starting to go down, Archie is actually will be able to find a kill onto Gwen. BB and AFX the last man standing, and only now the Evil Eye will be start to get utilized to maybe dish out some damage, but ultimately it's actually the health advantage in favor of Bazaar.
Yeah, they would have loved to get that deny, but just around the corner, he should see the barrel, and Sequence is ready, but he doesn't secure the kill. It's a low health members, but Archie is the one to first fall over, but Sequence, he finds it onto BB. Just 20 seconds to find the last one onto a low health Apex, and he knows where he is. He hunts him down, and he's got the diffuser right there to help him win the round. Another one in a row for Skyfire.
Bomb diffuser
A
disabled by
vile drop shot as well from Sequence to try to, well, not to try to get that kill to end the round is just, yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts that Skyfire are able to run away with these kind of clutches, with these kind of plays, and just making sure to just rub in the salt into Bazaar's plays as well.
Yeah, you can see a bit of mental warfare going on too. Pretty much every single round we saw a bit of it in Villa, but I think it's going to happen a bit more here on Cafe. they're bouncing up and down, spamming that crouch button when they win the rounds. Now they're starting to move to the bodies of the players they're taking out. It's classic Skyfire, right? They're getting into the heads of their opponents, and that being one game up with 2 rounds in a row in your pocket on their map pick, that is probably one of the best ways to get in there. Of course, Bazaar should be used to this. They know Skyfire do this. They probably saw it in the last week of the round robin. So this is something they should be ready for and should not be letting get to their heads. But right now, I mean, 2 rounds in a row for Skyfire. A lot of these have been very close. I can't imagine it's easy to stay untilted throughout this.
Yeah, it's certainly quite a challenge here mentally and physically for Bazaar to just stay kind of in the right headspace here for themselves, just to be able to maybe give a few more tries against Skyfire and see maybe they can bring something different here from themselves, because otherwise, yeah, this is looking like this might be over on this very map. So far, it seems whenever Skyfire are trying to get some openings, it just Bazaar get a few openings, but Skyfire are able to reply in a tenfold manner.
Speaking of openings, Cthulhu, we are lacking a Thermite here in this round and a Habana, so with Bazaar pulling something out a little bit different here. They have actually decided to bring in the Dokkaebi, but it feels like they are just looking to make some pretty crazy swings here. They just want to get in here, get the frags, look at the firepower on their team right now. They don't care about opening walls, they want to open heads, and they should be able to do that with the operators they've got right now. But once Skyfire work out what's going on, they'll know that they'll have a pretty predictable path that Bazaar should be taking.
Yeah, Bazaar now starting to maybe realize that conventional plays against Skyfire are not really the way. Maybe some unconventional warfare needs to be in place. They do now find the roaming Smacker, and now they have him in a pinch. The C4 has been already utilized, so now it's just sheer gunplay that could be used. Maybe a Capitao Firebolt could actually seal the deal. There it is. It will be starting to deal maybe a little bit of damage, or at least seal off the position. No, it's actually, Smacker is still very much careful there, and instead it's AFX to finally find his shot.
Yeah, and so with that, that's a lot of utility spent on Smacker, but they do get him. So this may be the opening that they're looking for, but it's already straight back onto Twent, and of course it comes from Sequence. It's not without a cost though, as it is traded out for now, half the round to make the 4v3 work right now, and the members of Skyfire continue to drop. Bazaar looking to clean this one out. It's just Mateus and Archie left to go. A whole minute to hold the sights right now. This is going to be a hard one to do, but a few magnets, maybe that could be the trick they're looking for.
And magnets are certainly going to be maybe a few solutions, but not ultimately the round-winning utility here. Definitely the gunfight needs to be there. Still 50 seconds to go, so maybe a time could be drained if Skyfire can play their cards right. But right now, things are definitely not looking favorable. Archie, with a bit of an Assassin's Creed drop, will be able to find a kill. Same goes for Mateus. Actually, it's a 2v2 situation at the moment. We start already saying that Skyfire probably lost this round. And with 36 seconds remaining, it's down to President and AFX to try to make the play. Finally, Mateus is actually going to be going down. It's all down to Archie. Maybe he's able to pull off a clutch. Maybe he's able to shut down the plant with so much information now being dished out. Things are certainly looking like they're just about to heat up a little bit, but no. Bazaar put down the foot, shut things down, and round 3 to go into their hands.
And every round just feels like it's just in the hands of either team, no matter who's left, how many people are down, unless you're looking at like a 5v1. Anyone seems like they're going to be able to clutch these rounds back, but this time it doesn't get clutched back by Skyfire. They fall just a little bit short, so Bazaar do manage to secure that one. So a nice strong opening, a good round coming up from them, and it looks like the Dokkaebi pick did work out.
Yeah, the Dokkaebi pick definitely brought out a little bit more fragging power, a little bit more maybe roam hunt ability for Bazaar. I'm curious as to why Dokkaebi and maybe not Jackal, but one way or another, they were able to make it work really well. So maybe further down the line, this could be the solution here, to just bring in a bit more unconventional set of operators to just battle with the way how wild Skyfire can be.
So still sticking to a similar plan. Of course, any element of surprise kind of now gone after already attempted it. So it was successful. It did work out, and a lot of it did come down from, like you said, that roam hunt, that roam clear. Smacker just got completely pinned down, and despite having a fair amount of utility chucked at him, it was still a very successful elimination of him. So if they can pull off the same deal here, then, well, it's a good plan. It's a great plan. But Skyfire this time should be ready for it. They should understand that, okay, we can't just let Smacker get caught out. We need to make sure he doesn't get pinned down. But this time they've also got Mateus to track down where Bazaar is coming from. And I think that should help out Smacker a whole lot with all that information Mateus is going to be sending over to him.
Yeah, Mateus has been actually quite good on the pulse plays before. On Villa, he was absolutely just relentless, really, with some of the peaks, some of the plays, and the info that he was relaying allowed players like Sequence to get those C4 kills. So now here, maybe a C4 kill could be coming through, but instead, it's President to hunt him down. Mateus no longer will be gathering any information, and now it's down to Archie with his roam to really maybe try to run some disruption.
Oh man, that is such a great operator to pick off at the start as well. Also someone that can bring value right until the very end of the round, eliminate him nice and early. That's pretty fantastic. So again, a good opening, but once more, it is just Skyfire swinging back. It's Twent taken now off the board, the clutch player from before. They're going to have to make do without him right now. So I guess we're back to 4v4 right now, but I just think the Pulse is so much value to lose. It's going to be rough, and now Skyfire certainly going to have to rely on these gunfights here to pull off a successful defense.
Yeah, Skyfire now forcing 3 players to go in for the roam. Site is now completely, well, at least the top floor has been completely forfeited. Will be allowing Bazaar to get themselves plenty amount of area to really play from. There's still a C4, I believe, on the side of Sequence that we still haven't seen to be fully utilized. And, well, Skyfire could still very much close this round in their favor, but that's still yet to be seen. 4 versus 4, anything could really happen.
Well, just a minute to go now, so it seems like Skyfire have run down the clock pretty hard right now, but they do have a lot of powerful tools to make that last push. They may not have a breach, but they do have the logic bomb, but they will not have cool for this last push as Jigsaw rips his head off and just runs back to safety, and now can hang back, relax, just anchor down right now. So Bazaar are going to have a spectacular push. Oh, Archie just below as well, stays alive, does get flashed this time, but it's going to be Jigsaw to lose a whole lot of health, but it's still Bazaar falling down as AFX will be the next victim, and Skyfire continue their rip. But BB swings back, and look at their health bars from Skyfire. That might be enough, but with 20 seconds to go, 2 full health members for Bazaar to push into this. They've got to spot out where the defenders are, but they don't. They do swing back. They get the trade, but now it's just BB here on the attack. A low health sequence would be a good way to kill it, but he's got to go for the plant, and he's got to make Skyfire in to deny it. Just 1 second through the floor, but the plant goes through, and now it's going to be all on BB to hold this one down on that IQ. Sequence holding the line down, but there it is. His teammate Smacker does the job, and they'll clean up yet another round here on Cathay.
Yeah, Skyfire able to really rid into all the plays. That vertical plate that came through from Skyfire is just absolutely clean, and every time works just like a very well-oiled machine. And it seems that Bazaar are just unable to find any kind of response. Already 3 rounds gained by Skyfire, and it seems that maybe they are going to be able to gain themselves maybe 1 more round, if not 2, as the avenue is open for both of the scenarios. So yeah, it's definitely a very interesting turnout so far happening between the 2 teams, and definitely puts quite a bit of a question as to whether it's just Skyfire that came in fully prepared into this matchup, or whether it's Bazaar that just cannot seem to be able to find any kind of solution against Skyfire here.
Yeah, really strong so far by Skyfire. I mean, again, if you're Bazaar, you're still on the back foot. You're already one map down. You can't afford to drop another one, and already it's looking very similar to what we saw over on Villa. But of course, on Villa, the first half was tied up. Bizarre did come back and manage to get the 3-3 off, but that needs to start now. So unless they've got a crazy plan on defense or are just going to play out of their minds, it really needs to start right now. You can't go into the second half with Skyfire taking that advantage. The pressure is just going to mount higher and higher as Skyfire get just a few steps away from getting into the grand final against Ferox next week. So far, I mean, we're back to Bizarre with the Thermite, so Dokkaebi's been put in the bin for now. It did pick up their only round win so far, but looks like they're going to need to open those holes.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yeah, Skyfire going for just about a similar setup here. Just not really changing a whole lot of things. That castle was able to really give some good, stable, and safe ground for a fair few players of Skyfire to just play their game out. Whereas Bizarre just seem to have had a few issues dealing with the crossfires that Skyfire so far had, and well, I'm not too sure whether any kind of solution will be found there further down the line, but at the very least, Bizarre are going fairly quickly now to try to take control at the very least of the top floor.
Yeah, and I believe Mateus should have caught the sound cues on that one for their entry, so everything should be in the knowledge of Skyfire for where Bizarre is coming from. They shouldn't be caught out by surprise by too much for now. You can see Bizarre sticking together, but they have split up one or two members off site somewhere, but a bit of steady progress so far. We have seen Bizarre get caught out by the clock now in a few rounds, so they definitely do want to be making these pushes pretty quickly, but of course, we have seen Skyfire just swing back on a lot of their entry frags. Luckily for Bizarre though, they have been the ones that put the first kills in most of the rounds. It's just about not letting the trade come back, and if they can manage that, I think their rounds should be looking really strong. That's a drone now off the table right now, but a good amount of information. They spot a lot of defenders right now, so they've got what they need to know. Now we just need to open that hole.
Yeah, plenty of openings already being done here by Bizarre, as BB is the one to wreak havoc from up above it, but it's Jigsaw to close it out. Ghoul completely down and out. Zofia will no longer be seeing any kind of action, and that is not a good beginning, given that Ghoul was the prime breacher for Bizarre to try to get rid of those castle barricades, but alas, they will be staying pretty strong here. The breach from the Thermite, I do believe, has actually came through, so maybe we are going to be seeing some more action. To arrive here, there it is. The freezer wall has been opened up, but apart from that, there's nothing yet to be done here, as Bizarre looking a little bit scared to really go in for any more peaks.
A bomb has been located.
Yeah, and once more, they're starting to run out of time. Only 30 seconds left. They've got the holes in the floor. They've got the hole from Thermite to move in. So it's now just Skyfire going to be holding tight. And actually, Archie pushing forward. A lot of damage, but not enough to kill President. He survives. Is that going to be enough for Bizarre to pull out a win? A lot of flashes now coming out. The downs at the beginning. President going for the plant, but it's Mateus to pick up yet another kill. Skyfire on a rip and a tear. And it's just Plenticles, no diffuser in hand, and running for his life, running for the site, and he swings right into the line of sight of Skyfire, who pick up their 4th round.
Yeah, Skyfire are completely unrelenting. They're not letting any mistake to be made here by themselves. They're just able to shut down any kind of approach that Bizarre are trying to have. And, well, certainly it does not look too pretty here. Bar and Cocktail Lounge is going to be the final round of the first half of map number 2. And, well, that was the only site that Bizarre were able to win, and even then, it did get fairly close.
Oh, it came right down to the wire. So this is gonna, once more, be a pretty crazy push coming out from them here in the final round. They get on attack. They certainly do not want this half to go with only 1 round in their favor. That would just be crushing. It would feel like perhaps even almost hopeless for them going into the second half. Skyfire just feel like they can't be stopped right now, but like we've been saying, these rounds, they do seem very close. It just feels like when Skyfire are in these clutch situations, they are the ones that can reliably pull a good amount of them back. In fact, I'd say probably more than half of them right now. They've got a very good success rate, even when they're down one or two players. So already pretty crazy. Once more though, Cthulhu, we do come back to that Dokumi composition. No thermite on the board at all. So once more, we're going to these firefights. The firepower is the priority for Bizarre.
Loading mag!
10 seconds to go.
Yeah. Bizarre here.
5 seconds to go.
That lineup that they are bringing in with Dokumi seem to have worked out pretty well on the bar hold, but apart from that, it's really nothing too unusual. President's MK14 EBR is a magnificent gun. Oh, that C4. Oh, that is a cheeky way. If Skyfire can get that kill, I would be mad if I would be a Bizarre player. But
I would quit right there.
yeah, I would just ult F4 at that point. But we'll see.
Luckily though, oh wait, maybe we might get President caught out by it. If he's listening nice and carefully, he might be able to hear it, but oh no, don't do it. Okay, it does fall out. It doesn't do enough damage to him at all, and so that's just one C4 now, down and out. So risky play by Skyfire, but it doesn't pay off for them for now. So now they've got to play the map nice and standard with 5v5.
Swapping mags!
Yeah, a clean 5v5 should be a very interesting spectacle to witness, given that Skyfire are still prompting to have a bit of a more of an open plan for some of their angles. I like that very wide angle to be held in the freezer. So here, Jigsaw is being quite ballsy, standing bang on in the middle of the piano room, but I'm not too sure whether that'll work or not. For now, it seems that it's kept them fairly well and alive, but maybe further down the line, he could get outed fairly quickly out of there.
Some really risky repels coming out as well. And just barely dodging some of the bullets, but Sequence will not dodge any of those ones. The smoke now off the table. That Sequence who's been having an incredible map so far, but just like many other rounds before, Skyfire still get a kill back. And this one, it's AFX now off the table. Those air jabs not going to be able to flush Skyfire out no more.
Yeah, Mateus falling down, same as Sequence. That is going to hurt the utility economy of Skyfire, but there's still plenty of things to be done. Jigsaw is in a very powerful position. If anyone will be trying to drop down through the new hatch, this could be quite fatal. Or at the very least, if he's able to stay in the smoke, he could do quite a fair bit of damage. Already, Plant is actually going down. There is a repel in there. BB to find the shot onto Jigsaw, and the whole Skyfire lineup is actually falling apart. Archie is the last man standing to try to dish out some damage, but even that is not really working out. And, well, things are certainly looking grim here for Archie. He needs to really find those frags. We were able to spot a few possibilities and a few clutches, but I don't think this is the chance here for Skyfire to find another point. And, well, it seems like a 4-2 is on the board here.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that seems just a little bit too far, but even for Skyfire to pull out. Of course, Flame is in the way. Diffuser just out of the line of sight here right now. Archie just not hitting an even shot either. 2 seconds to go, and it will be Bizarre picking up their second round here. And that is going to feel a lot better. That will definitely give them a bit of a sigh of relief. Of course, we did see a player drop, so a rehost should be coming out any moment right now. So an all right half for Bizarre. They stay alive, but I think that's the bare minimum they've got to do here in this must-win map, Cthulhu, for Bizarre. I mean, 2 rounds on the first half. They've got to have a spectacular defense.
Yeah, defense from Bizarre should be a very interesting one, to say at the very least. They have quite a challenge cut out for them, seeing as they had a few struggles during Villa. Here on Cafe, maybe they might have a few struggles as well, as things have definitely not been really working out quite well for them, and only on a few choice rounds they were able to really swing in the favor for themselves, and that was only Bar. Both of the times they were able to run away with a point there. So here on their defense, I would imagine that they will probably go for a bit more of a standardized lineup of the operators, and same as the site pick. So here for Skyfire, it should be fairly easy to predict as to which sides and which operators could be played out and how and where would they position themselves, or at the very least what kind of pace would Bazaar would try to aim for. So ultimately here it seems that maybe Bazaar might be having a few struggles here, but it's still not over yet. They still have a chance to really make a comeback and a return. So who knows? Maybe at the end of the day, we will be seeing the third map to come through.
Yeah, we're getting very, very close here. Of course, we definitely want to jump back into it very, very soon. But, I mean, look, Cthulhu, is this going to be enough? That half 2 to 4, Bazaar, do you think the defensive swap is really going to be enough? I mean, it certainly just feels like Skyfire, I mean, yeah, that round didn't really clutch back, but even when it is Bazaar taking the lead, it doesn't feel like it's enough. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick break as we get the players ready, rehosted. We want to get them in the best spot possible as we go to finish map number 2 of the semi-final. Stay tuned, because we'll be right back. All right, cheers for sticking through that one with us, guys. We are now returning back. We're just about to jump back into where we left you guys off. We had a very strong opening on the first half of Cafe by Skyfire, 4-2, and they are just a few rounds away from locking in that spot in the grand final against Ferox next week. But we do have a chance now for Bazaar to swap over onto defense and see if they can be the ones to take us to map number 3, Cthulhu.
Yeah, Bazaar really need to pull up. They need to find their frags. They need to find their wins here, because 4-2 scoreline is certainly not what they would want here after that first half. But hey, really at this point, it's all or nothing, because this map is their last chance to stay in these series.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we were theory crafting beforehand, because we haven't seen Bazaar on Cafe. I mean, perhaps there's a reason for that, but tonight we were hoping that there was going to be some sort of secret strategy, some kind of back pocket. We did see some interesting things come out, but all said and done, it doesn't seem like it was enough on attack. But maybe something's going to come out on defense here. But all things considered, Cthulhu, I'm looking at the operator picks. I think this is looking quite standard here. Nothing too crazy. And so it's going to be on Bazaar to just come in here with very good standard play, start winning these gunfights. And I think just hold tight on the rounds where they're snagging the lead. It just feels like each time they get an entry frag, or each time they even just get a few man number lead, the Skyfire can clutch back in a good amount of the rounds. And so, yeah, it's good that Bazaar can secure 2 rounds here, but I feel like a few of them could have actually gone their way if they just kept the lead and didn't let it get thrown away.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, a few of those rounds were definitely quite questionable from Bazaar, but here on their defense, I'm quite curious how will it be performed. Already a bit of an oversight where they did not reinforce one of the walls, which is gonna potentially bite back at them fairly soon if that is gonna be the case. But I'm curious how will the Echo pick really work out here for Bazaar, given that no Castle has been brought on board. Instead, it's Castle. No, and Hibana's actually will be brought on board rather than the Thermite. So much more small breaches will be made.
Yeah, plus also you've got Skyfire bringing along Thatcher, so all of those tools that Bazaar are going to want to play with, the ADS, and even the mute jammers, they're just going to be a whole lot less useful. Of course, Bandit as well is going to be the big target for a lot of the EMPs so that they can actually get the openings that they are looking for. But yeah, a big difference here from Skyfire now with their approach on the attack. I mean, even down to the hard breacher, like you mentioned. And so already we're having a bit of drone denials here, so Skyfire playing a bit in the dark, but hey, who's afraid of the dark? Not Sequence.
Yeah, Sequence is just on point. He does not miss those at all, and that is a very important part of the puzzle here. Sequence is going on a rip. That's a triple already. Going in for maybe a 4th. No, it's Smackit to pick up the 4th, and no ace will be guaranteed here. Twint is the last man standing, and oh my lord, will be able to finally shut down Sequence. 1v3 situation with a minute and a half to go. Maybe could find another one, but no. Skyfire on top of this, being able to rip things down apart. And well, things are not looking all too pretty here for Bazaar. Skyfire net themselves their 5th round.
Yeah, it's Sequence just on fire. He is just feeling it tonight, picking up those frags. Like you said, he just doesn't miss when he starts getting those swings. He gets them through the soft walls, in the cranium, just wherever he needs to pick up those frags. And yeah, sure, Twent managed to get the revenge back onto him, but far too little and far too late for them to pull that one back. So a speed run round for sure by the attacking squad here on Skyfire. Just incredibly smooth, clean, and exactly what you'd expect coming from the first place seed.
Yeah, Skyfire is certainly proving that they are very much worth that first seed, that first position on the leaderboard, and they are planning to keep it that way here. Bazaar looking to potentially deny Skyfire their match point at least in round number 8, but so far it's been a struggle, a huge struggle where Skyfire are able to swing in everywhere and on anyone and get the frag that they want, that they need, without any kind of punishment really. And only when the damage was already dealt, only when Sequence was already able to pick up that 3k, this was when Bazaar maybe started to attempt to make the play, but by that point, it was all gone. It was all done and dusted.
Yeah, and not to mention as well, they didn't really have much room to go with the drones to even just give Sequence that information. He just pushed like a Chad and knew exactly where to aim, knew exactly how to swing, and picked it up. So a really quick one for Skyfire, but that's just one round here on the attack, but they are one step away from match point. This is actually an incredibly quick start from Skyfire, so we could be very closely putting ourselves in a position where Bazaar are just so far behind that it could just be all over, but they really need to start pulling it back here. If the match point comes out for Skyfire, then I feel like it's just too far gone for Bazaar. But this opening here, Jigsaw is going to be a little careful, because he does have someone hanging around the corner from him.
Yeah, few angles will be held there. Bazaar certainly looking quite scared here almost to play against the Skyfire's attack. They are just playing very passive angles, trying to maybe play off some of the aggression that Skyfire trying to bring in here. So certainly it's quite a challenge, to say at the very least, for Bazaar to really bring in the fire back.
Well, the good news is here for Bazaar fans. Oh, what a hole. Jigsaw almost scoring that one just for free, but doesn't manage to score it here this time. If we get the spider senses for Jigsaw, he may be able to find a frag. He didn't actually see the sneak out there, so may keep his eyes there for a while, but it's AFX to score his kill onto Jigsaw with a sneaky little C4. This could be how Bazaar come back into it, but remember, never count Skyfire out when they're just a man or two down. They can always come back.
Yeah, they showed it to us on Villa more and more on each and every round. Right now, it's certainly looking like they just might be able to repeat that very success. Mateus trying to maybe get a few cheeky shots on Tagul already, was able to tag him up quite substantially, but to no avail just yet. There's already the push through already. There's a big brain play as well. Mateus with a 300 IQ flank straight away. BB, though, able to dish out a little bit of punishment, so we're back to a 3 versus 3. Skyfire right now looking ready to cut off each and every possibility of Bazaar winning the round.
Oh, Archie, I was going to say a little in the open, but hey, a C4 will find you no matter where you are. But those are low health bars, and Mateus is ready to prey on them. It's back over to a 2v2 right now. It's still 20 seconds, and the plant only now just going down. President too far away. It doesn't look like this one is going to be denied at all. So post-plant it is, and Smacker has his lines on the site right now as they run right up the stairs into his eyes. And just like that, it's all up to BB right now to try and find a way to pull this one out. Position revealed, and he's got to make these swings. He's got to make the corner turn. and he's trying what he can. He's trying to see if he can get anything for free, but right now it's going to be about clicking on the head in the right spot as he turns the corner, peeks, and tries to bait out anyone from Skyfire, but they're waiting patiently. They know they can take this one nice and easily as they score themselves the match point.
Oh man. Yeah, this is looking like Skyfire might just be able to run away with a 2-0 already on match point, and round 9 is looking like just the round that Skyfire need. This is potentially the final one here between the two teams. Bizarre just cannot seem to catch a break here, really. And it seems even ultimately on their map vetoes is where they ultimately lost.
But the thing is, Cthulhu, it's not Bizarre having bad openings or anything. They've gotten the entry frag and actually a good amount of these rounds, but Skyfire just say they don't care. It doesn't matter if they go down 4v5 because they're able to make these crazy plays where they make these big brain moves. I believe it was Mateus with the Nomad flush out with the air jab, doing parkour around all of the balconies and still managing to find his opponent, while meanwhile Smack is also picking up his own kills. So it just never feels like these guys are out unless you just have overwhelming odds. And speaking of overwhelming odds right now, series point, this is semi-final point for Skyfire. They are just oh so close to moving into the finals against Ferox. Bizarre are going to have to pull out absolutely every trick in the book they've got right now, and they've got to stop throwing away the leads they get in each of these rounds right now. They need to get the entry frag, and they need to hold on to that lead, not give away anything after it.
Yeah, for a few times we saw Skyfire kind of get to the match point position, but then just can't seem to find the closure for a fair few rounds. But this time, it's looking that they are very much serious about it. They want to close it as quickly as possible, as firmly as possible, matter of fact. And this is looking like an even faster, potentially, ending for the best of 3 compared to even what we saw yesterday from Ferox and Exto.
Oh yeah, definitely way more one-sided right now, especially as we've moved on to Cafe. Skyfire just absolutely ripping it apart right now. Let's see if they can do it one more round in a row. They've already got eyes on their opponents. Bizarre cowering back down, but they're just waiting patiently. They know they've been spotted out, so they've got the intel too. And just remember, it's been Bizarre to pick up the first frag on quite a few of these rounds. If it's Skyfire to pick it up instead, that could be devastating. And Archie, I think he smells a rat. He knows someone's hiding. And it was Ghoul all along. This looking like it's going to be just a trade, but he found that player hiding in that corner. But that is the Echo now off the table. Those plant denials, not going to happen. Oh, it continues as Mateus will fall.
BB with a phenomenal rotation through the coat hanger room, able to really find that frag, still keep the man count in favor of Bizarre, but we saw so many rounds where Skyfire were able to run away, so maybe this could be the one as well. But maybe it's Bizarre that could potentially nail themselves yet another round to keep themselves just a little bit longer in this matchup, because losing out 7-2 on your own map pick on Cafe, the map that could have possibly granted you that big dub because you never played it, there was no VOD material. This could have been the perfect setup, but alas, no win just yet. The breach is there, and well, there's now a perfectly big enough hole to really play out. A C4 that will not be landing anything. A fantastic headshot by Sequence, and there is a prone President right under the breach, just waiting for the right moment to really get the frag. There it is, the jump up. Got up from the prone position and will be punished straight away. 2 versus 3 now as BB and AFX are remaining to keep their team in place. But even he will be falling. It's all down to AFX to try to clutch this out. 1v3 situation. 36 seconds left to go. There's already a prone player in the freezer window. And seems like it's just about to be all over Red Rover. Bizarre. Can they find the play? No, they won't. It's Skyfire to score themselves the 2-0.
Dominating fashion from Skyfire tonight. What a way to send themselves into the grand final against Ferox. Both semi-finals are 2-0, but this one absolutely much more one-sided, especially once we sent ourselves to Cafe. This man here, Sequence, certainly deserving that MVP here. You just look at the frags he picked up. This is after a rehost as well. The man was on fire. He got the most important kills throughout a lot of the rounds, even swinging the ones back in the favor of Skyfire. But after all is said and done, it is clear Skyfire will be the next finalist. And we have our top two now, Cthulhu. But oh my god, I can't believe how many rounds they managed to bring back.
Oh yeah, Skyfire is just seeming to be right now the gods of comebacks throughout each and every round. It seems that whenever there is an absolute stomp, whenever there is a chance that Skyfire might be losing out on the man count, they seeming to be able to just completely, they have that kind of the switch, the comeback switch. They just flick on, all of a sudden, it's going down from 2v4 to a 2v2 or maybe 2v1. So it's always seeming to be just an absolute just crushing blow no matter what.
All right, well, we do indeed have Mr. Smacker on the line, the big man himself from Skyfire. Mate, look, you've just done it 2-0. You've put yourselves in the grand final. Look, tell us what's going through your head right now.
The boys are pumped, honestly. We're thrilled that we made it to finals this season.
Yeah,
any kind
look,
of
before we jump into any real analysis of the match, I just want to say, like, you guys looked like you were having a blast, even back on map 1. I mean, was that also just you guys having fun, or were you trying to get in the heads of your opponent a little bit? Because it does feel like classic Skyfire, but, you know, I love it.
No, we were just having fun. Like, I respect all the boys in Bazaar. We're good friends, so this is fun.
All right. Walk me through what was going through your minds during the veto process, because obviously Cafe was one of those maps that you guys don't really play a whole lot. Bazaar never really played throughout the whole season. Were you in any shape or form concerned maybe about what was going to go down in map number 2, or were you just confident throughout the whole time?
I said to Archie, like, I asked, what are we doing letting Cafe through, because we never played it. But he told us that it'd be a better pick for us, to play against them, and we pug it out because we had no strats on it. So we just pugged and hope for the best.
Okay. That's even more amusing now to me, because, at this point I thought that maybe there was some scrim footage that you guys had seen, or maybe something across these lines. But if you guys were able to play it out like that in the pug kind of formation, I'm even more now curious about your grand final that is going to be against Ferox.
Yeah, Ferox will be a bit tough, I reckon.
Yeah, okay. So actually, I want to touch on that, because I imagine you guys watched the match last night. So first off, the 2-0 by Ferox, did you see that coming? And are you happy that it's Ferox you get to play, or are you maybe a little worried?
I didn't get to see the game. I was asleep, to be honest. I was hoping that XD won, honestly, so we could pump them in grand finals. But I'm keen to verse Ferox. I kind of saw it coming. So it'll be a good game.
Okay, and then one last thing before we let you go, because I've got to know, you guys went down in the rounds quite a few times. You lost the first frag, but quite consistently, I might add. You managed to bring it back quite a lot. Many clutches, a lot of stolen rounds. So, I mean, how do you guys do it?
That's a good question. I don't know, to be honest. Like, I'm not sure what to say to that. It's a bit of a hard question. Just good mental game, I guess. Like, we don't get tilted when we lose the first pick. Everyone's just like chill. We always know that we need to hunt for the pick to get it even, like 4-4, if we lose early pick. Right. So I don't know. I guess it's natural, really.
I mean, it seems as simple as that, because that's honestly exactly what it looked like on the screen. So sometimes the simplest answer is what we're looking for. But mate, you've made it to the grand finals in such a great fashion as well. So best of luck moving into next week, and congratulations on making it there.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, man. All right, Cthulhu, there it is. I mean, 2-0. I mean, we hyped up both the semifinals as being quite close, but this one in particular just ended up steamrolling ahead for Skyfire. So I think a surprise for sure. But next week, we're going to get the grand final. We're going to get the Ferox versus Skyfire. this is going to be a crazy one. You've got the first place seed versus the Pro League team. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, this is going to be the grand challenge. I'm quite pumped for this one because serious Ferox and Skyfire that is kind of serious but is also having fun. Those two are some very scary two forces that are about to collide. So for what it's worth, no matter what will be the scoreline, I definitely think that this is going to be the biggest, the most lit matchup that we could get here in Season 2.
Oh man, absolutely, because it's been an absolute treat to watch Skyfire through the second half of the season in particular, but Ferox as well have started showing up in the later rounds too. Obviously picking up the 2-0 against Exto was just absolutely massive, but Cthulhu, I think that's all us done for tonight right now. We're all done out of semifinals. We've just got one more grand final to go. So ladies and gentlemen, that's coming up next week. Definitely make sure you tune into that one. And a big shout out before we go to our sponsors, Vodafone, Conquer, and of course, WD Black for supporting Rainbow Six Siege Esports here in Oceania. But guys, that's it from us, and we're going to see you next week on Wednesday for the grand final of LPL Pro.